Hello everyone, this is a Keriel Perez with you. This is a special edition. I'm very glad to have everyone with us here today. I have with me a special guest. We're gonna be interviewing um, Tech Sergeant Serafin Rosa from the Air Force, U.S. Air Force. And by the way, the Air Force is one of the biggest sponsors of the Florida Master League. We're very glad to have them here with us. And Serafin, nice having you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Hey, so just give us a little introduction about the U.S. Air Force, yourself, how long you've been doing what you do for your living. What?
So I've been I'm representing what we call the U.S. Air Force Officer Sessions Recruiting. We're located here in Orlando, but we cover pretty much the whole state of, half of the state of Florida from Gainesville to the Florida Keys. We also cover Puerto Rico and Virgin Islands. And a little bit about myself, I'm originally from Puerto Rico, from a town called Guayama. I've been in the Air Force 15 years. I started out as an Air Force firefighter. I did firefighting for 7 years, and then I was picked up to be a recruiter. I was an enlisted recruiter in Tucson, Arizona. Then I became a special warfare recruiter in Miami, and then now I'm here, kind of back home, because I actually joined out of Orlando when I first decided to join. Um, in our recruiting office, we have approximately around 8 recruiters. We all focus on different specialties within the officer sessions. Um, yeah.
Nice, very nice to know that about you. Um, so we got a few questions to do to you to get information about the Air Force, get some knowledge of what you guys do there, so the people can know, and even me, cause I don't really know
Hmm.
what you guys do like that. So first question that we got is about the qualification. Like, what are the qualifications to be in the Air Force?
So for qualifications, just depends on what you're gonna depends on the positions you want to apply for. We recruit for there's really 3 areas that we recruit for. We're recruiting for the Space Force officer sessions. We recruit line officers, which is like the pilots, engineers, and a lot of other manager positions. And then we recruit the health profession side, right? The health professions is our doctors, our physicians, our dentists. Within that area, we have different multiple programs, right? Biomedical sciences, nursing, um, like I said, physicians, medical health service administrators, and a ton of other areas. So
Nice.
it just the qualifications all depend on what people are applying for. In our area, for health professions, the age limit could range anywhere from 39 to 47 year olds. Um, but that doesn't mean if we get a physician that's maybe in their 50s or something, we may consider them,
Yeah.
right?
Everybody can be part of the Air
Yeah,
Force.
so I don't want to discourage anyone from just coming to us. We recruit nurses and all types of people. But in regards to qualifications, we run through a pre-qualification form, and qualifications could be medical history, um, you know, uh, drug use, law violations, but also with the jobs, it depends on their qualifications, right? So, if they're a doctor, of course, they need their license.
Yeah.
If they're a nurse, they're going to need, certain qualifications.
So I'm gonna ask you this question. I don't have it here, but I wanna
Mhm.
like ask you. It's more like not personal, but kind of the topic. So what made you go and join the Air Force?
Good question. So, my dad was a Marine. My stepfather, who raised me, he was in the Army. Always had cool stories about the military and about his time in. So I think that was already planned. Um, I was gonna join when I was a little bit younger, but decided to continue college. Um, But while I was working here in Orlando in a resort, and I don't know, I just felt like I needed something more, like another fulfillment, to do something more with my life. I was 27 when I decided to join, and by far was the best decision. So I think it came down to one of the reasons I'm still in is the satisfaction of the job,
Nice.
right? Wanting to do something more, not only for myself but for our country.
Nice. That's very nice, and I respect that a lot. I respect
Appreciate it.
that a lot.
Appreciate it.
So another question that we got is, what are the commitment length?
So commitments, all depends, right? I apologize, I forgot to mention some of the other programs we hire for. We offer scholarships, right? So scholarships for those that want to go into medical school, dental school, optometry, right? That want to be health professionals, but they we offer scholarships for that. It can be 3 years, 4 year scholarships, 2 year scholarships, depending on the program. So with those commitments, they'll serve. We'll pay for their school. We'll give them a monthly stipend, and then they'll serve a commitment back with us.
Now that you touched that topic, I know you guys offer scholarship, and what are the residency, how you say it, programs,
Oh,
residential programs.
so residencies are, we have a program, we call it the Financial Assistance Program. That's for medical students or medical residents that are currently in. We give them assistance while they're in residency, right? Because while they're in residency, depending on they're doing their residency, they may not, they're not making like a fully qualified doctor,
Yeah.
right? So we assist them with that. We give them extra money. Pretty much, we give them a little bit over than 76 grand a year, in addition to whatever that residency is paying them while they're going through residency. So it's mainly for doctors. We also, every now and then, we may have it for dentists too. But this year, currently, we're offering it for physicians.
Another question that I got: Why the Air Force?
Air Force. I guess the Air Force. A big thing. I say if you're interested in technology, you're interested in just doing something more in regards to more advanced. Air Force is a good one. I guess if we're comparing different branches and stuff
Yeah.
like that, a lot of people decide to go the Air Force route. A lot of people mention the quality of life, and kind of what I said, like the satisfaction portion of it. There's a lot of different things, even not only on the officer side, but even on the enlisted side. Every job has a degree attached to it. For those that are enlisted, which is we can hire anyone from 17-year-olds to 39-year-olds, straight out of high school.
Nice.
And if they're trying to pursue education, right? We all our enlisted jobs have degrees attached to it. So those are some of the things. Traveling is a big one. People want to travel, gain leadership experience, and just being, the face of our country, right? When it comes to, going across all over the world.
So, where can, for everybody that doesn't know or don't have the information about the Air Force, where can they go and look up or have information?
Mhm.
If there's a page or number, can you give me something to give the audience, so they can go look it up and they're interested, sign up, have a training, something?
Yes, I guess the first stop could be you can go into www.airforce.com, right? That's the main page. If you're interested in Space Force, you can type in same thing, www.spaceforce.com. That will give you an overview of all the different opportunities, different career fields, different programs that we offer, not only on the officer side, but also on the enlisted side. And we also have civilian positions for those that are, may be in certain professions, but don't really want to, maybe wear the uniform, right? Or whatever the reason is,
Yeah.
right? And they may want to stay local. They can also check out our civilian positions, which you can find it in our in that website. And then we also have the part-time positions, right? Like within the air reserves, and the air guard. So those are other options, especially if somebody wants to stay local, maybe in Florida, they don't want to move, or they have a really good job right now, and they just want to serve,
Yeah.
right? Maybe that can be an option too, the Air Guard or the Air Force Reserves.
Right. So, what are the benefits from someone joining the Air Force? Like, what they can say? Oh, I was very glad to join by this or that.
Um, I mean, benefits. There's so many, right? I mean, pay is good depending on what jobs you have, right? Depends. You may get more pay or a little bit less. But benefits like retirement, the fact that in 5 years I retire, and I'm still going to be young, even though I joined a little bit older, I'm still going to be young enough to, you know, retire, right? And benefits of traveling, benefits of education, right? We have not only the scholarships we offer on the health profession side, but there's the GI Bill that pays for school for university. We get tuition assistance for those that are currently in, right, and that pays for school. I still take classes right now. Um, Benefits for the family, free medical benefits, um, and there's a lot of different perks out there being
Nice.
part of the military.
So I wanted to ask you. I know you are sergeant now. I wanted to ask you what was the process of you becoming the position that you are right now.
So for me, I'm an enlisted member. So our everything is kind of like, I think our first three ranks will make it automatically, right? Depending on how much time you've been in. I came in as a E3 because I had some college, and then E3 is a airman first class, and then from airman first class you go to senior airman. I think it could be within 2 years. And then from there, after senior airman, which is what we call E4, you'll start promoting by your evaluations, your yearly evaluations and testing. So for staff sergeant and tech sergeant positions, there's a requirement to test, right? So then there'll be like a combined score of your evaluations and testing, and that would, depending on how many positions the Air Force wants, depends on how many people get promoted.
Nice.
And then for Master Sergeant and above, which is our senior enlisted ranks, um, it's all about evaluations, and we go through a board system.
Nice. That's
So
that's very cool.
yeah.
So, oh, go ahead.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
sorry. I'm
And then
sorry.
on the officer side, it's maybe a little bit different. But I know for a lot of our health professionals, depending on how much education they have and how many years of experience they may come in at different levels of rank, right? If they have a doctorate, in that specialty, they can come in as a captain. If they have a master's degree, they may come in as a first lieutenant, right? It just depends.
Nice. So, for those that don't know, Sergeant Serafin is actually a player from our league, the Florida Master League. So I wanted to ask you, what do you think about our league?
Man, when I first moved, I moved back to Orlando in 2021, and I had one of my good friends from when I first lived here in Orlando. He was playing in that league, and I was like looking at the highlights and everything,
Nice.
and I called him up. I'm like, hey man, we used to play basketball back in the day, and he told me, he gave me a little bit of explanation of the league, and I don't know. I like the next year, I was like, man, I gotta sign up. So I ended up signing up. I enjoy it, man. It's competitive. I know I'm a little bit past my prime, but I wish I was a little bit younger so I can compete a little bit higher, But I enjoy it, man. It's fun to go out there and just everything you guys are doing. The way the league is growing, the uniforms. It just brings you back to when you were a kid. You know, I grew up playing basketball in Puerto Rico, and you know, just still playing at in my 40s is pretty cool to and have that same feeling like I was a 10-year-old. So.
That's very, very nice. Very, very nice. Um, what else we got here? I think we're gonna go a little off script 'cause there's no more questions, so I'm gonna close
Hmm.
this. um, so how does your family feels about you being in the Air Force? How's the feedback from them? How's the support?
Hmm.
How's everything?
It's been good. You know, I joined. I have three daughters, right? Two of my daughters are adults now. I am a grandfather too. But I think one of the benefits is they've got an opportunity to see different parts of the country. Like I said, we lived in Georgia, we lived in Arizona. They've gone to good schools. You know, so family's very supportive. You know, I think there's always that fear initially of like, you're gonna get sent to war or something, or you know, or we're gonna move or whatever. But I think sometimes you just got to take the leap of faith, and it's been good so far. You know, my family, they're proud of me, right? And um, you know, no complaints as of right
That's
now.
great.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's very, very great.
Yeah.
Um, what are the like? Is there anything that brings you a little bit of fear or something, or like preocupaciones? Sorry
Hmm.
to say in Spanish, I didn't have the word.
No se
Um,
preocupe.
¿Hay alguna preocupación que venga a tu mente por tu servir al Air Force?
Hmm.
¿Cuáles son los riesgos? ¿Dónde puede?
Um, eh, I mean, there's always gonna be things that cross your mind, right? But I think you know, at the end of the day, we're it's a job. You know, it's a job. You know, like this is just a job with a different meaning,
Yeah,
right? Now we're not only serving ourselves, we're serving for others. So I think once you know, though, when we join, we have this certain training that we do. You know, like it could be basic training for officers. It could be officer training school. We get a foundation of what it is to serve with the Air Force, and I think we carry that. You know, the longer we stay in, you know, and we're always training to
nice.
be better and more advanced and now in regards to fear, you know, I'm not gonna say I've never been scared about anything, but I think it, you know, I've been in 15 years. I don't think about it anymore like that. You
Yeah.
know, I think I've had a really good career so far and fun career in the Air Force.
Now that you say a fun career, what's the how was the question?
Some tough questions here in the end.
No, like I wanted to ask like what's the best experience that you have in the Air Force? Like a moment that you say, "Wow, I'm always gonna remember this. It was a great time." What's your best experience?
I think that's a hard one, man, because I think every job I've had, every position I've had an opportunity to meet amazing people, man. I think that's one of the benefits. Like it's like basketball, right? We get with a
Yeah,
team and we have fun. Sometimes we argue, right? Depending on
that's
on
part of the
things,
game. Part
right?
of the
But at
game.
the end of the day, you build a bond. You know, I still
Yeah,
have bonds with teammates of mine. You know, in high school and selección and we still have those bonds. So that's my analogy with the military and the Air Force is we build bonds with different people. So I think the people is the best part. You know, as a firefighter, we live together half of the year. You know, like normal city firefighters
yeah.
too, right? Um, you know, deployments. I've deployed twice. So we build bonds with new people in different places we go. Um, and then, you know, recruiting, I think the part I love about recruiting is being able to change people's lives.
Nice.
You know, especially, you know, no matter what position I've been, you know, in the listed side, I've been able to change tons. I think over like I don't know. I think I counted last time like 100 and something, hundred more than 100 lives when I was in Arizona, and then in Miami, I recruited these young men and women. They had to work out. They had to train to even just to get a chance to get in, right? And then to see them, still calling me, hey, I made it through. I made it through selection. I made it. I got my beret. So on the Air Force Special Warfare side, it's almost like, I don't know if the more extreme jobs,
Yeah.
right? They have to train and all that. So that feeling is good. And then on the officer side, the fact that I can talk to a physician and they tell me, hey, I've been a physician for 20 something years, and my wife wants to travel, and I want to do something different before I retire, and have that opportunity to help that person check that bucket list, that list off their bucket is amazing.
So, I got another one for you. What been the coolest thing you ever done in the Air Force? Like you say, wow, I
Oh
did this
man.
one time and I was like, I can't believe I'm doing this.
I think okay. I had an opportunity to. I've always been afraid of heights, right? And there's two times, right? One time when I first became a firefighter, I was stationed. I first got to my first base in South Georgia, and one of the the things they did was they told me to get on a ladder truck, right? Those big trucks with
Yeah,
the
the
ladders
boat.
that go up, and they told me hook on top, and then they started spinning me.
Oh wow.
Hopefully I'm not throwing anybody under the bus on this, but they were spinning me, and I was like, okay, I closed my eyes. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Another cool thing, I have like maybe two or three things. Was I went to a course called rescue school for the fire department, where we learned how to pretty much do rescue stuff, right? With ropes and ties and rappel, ascend. So in rescue school, this was in Texas. They have a long, long tower, and throughout the whole course, we're looking at that tower, but we're not going up there. It's usually towards the end of the course, and it's like maybe a month course. And I was dreading it. I'm like, man, how am I gonna rappel all the way up there? And just to do it, it was so fun. I mean, I guess that was a fun part. Work rise. And then when I became a special warfare recruiter, they had us go to a simulated course that we send to candidates, and that was definitely fun, man. We got treated just like them for a whole week, and we're just a bunch of recruiters, and they were having us do a bunch of crazy stuff and push-ups and middle of the night running, and even though a lot of us didn't like it at the moment, towards the end, it was worth it. So those have been some fun things
Nice.
that we've done.
That sounds fun. I don't know about
Yeah.
the ladder thing and going spinning, right? But that sounds fun.
Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier that you was in 5 more years you was gonna retire.
That's my goal,
That,
right? I
that
could do longer, but I'm eligible to retire at my
so
20 year.
once you retired, what's after that? What's your plan? You're just gonna live life.
To be honest,
Go
man, I'm a
on.
basketball junkie, and I this year I had an opportunity to be an assistant coach for a local high school here.
Nice, very nice.
So maybe I'll get into the coaching. Maybe I'll join you guys. I don't know.
You
Do
got the doors
something with
open. You got the doors open. If you wanna join us, hey, we're
um,
right here.
definitely. I think with recruiting is giving me a different perspective. Maybe scouting. Some techniques that I've learned in the Air Force. Um, for now, that's kind of my
Yeah,
focus.
that's your focus.
But it could change. I could be I don't know, a medical recruiter or something somewhere else, or who knows.
Hey, I'm very glad I had you here today. This is fun for me.
Thank you,
The
man.
story about the ladder going around, I'm gonna be thinking about that a lot. Hey, I wanna thank you for what you've done. Thank you for serving this country.
Appreciate it.
And that's from my part, and I know from the league too.
Hmm.
We appreciate what you do for us, and I see you on Saturday.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Hey guys, see you guys again. Be watching about the podcast, the leagues. We're gonna talk about everything, many things to come. This is my Keriel Perez here with Tech Sergeant Serafin Rosa. Serafin, say bye to the.
Thank you, everyone. Hopefully you guys enjoy it.
Hey, pieces, deuces.
Thank you.
The critical thinking that's involved in being a critical care nurse, it's like every day it's kind of like solving a mystery. Get them out of the ICU as quickly as possible, either down to a lower level of care or back to their families. My name is First Lieutenant Nathaniel Lunders, and I am a clinical critical care nurse, as well as a critical care air transport nurse with the United States Air Force. As a critical care nurse, we're going to be providing those life-saving drips, literally medications that are going in continuously to keep this patient alive. We're able to participate in critical care air transport. This very unique program to the Air Force allows us to have a global reach. We're able to maintain that ICU level of care from the time that they're injured all the way until they are in an actual ICU in the States, so that they can be with their families. Back in 2013, I was a prior enlisted security forces member, and I would respond to medical emergencies. That kind of got my interest piqued in going into the medical field. I decided to get off of active duty and decided to go back and get my degree in nursing, and then go into surgical trauma ICUs on the outside, and then decided to come back into the Air Force as a critical care nurse. I had all my schooling and everything paid for, and that really helped me to focus while I was in nursing school instead of having to worry about having a job. My favorite part about being a nurse in the Air Force is we adhere much more strictly to the patient ratios that I think provide effective care than I've experienced on the civilian side. As a civilian, I would start out my day with 7 patients, and then at some point throughout the night may end up taking another admission. In the Air Force, they try to keep it down to 2, but sometimes it can be as high as 3 critically ill patients, and you're able to spend as much time as needed with those patients to make sure that they have the best outcomes. Being a nurse in the Air Force means you're expected to fulfill that leadership role and to step up, really be the one that is helping to guide your airmen in the direction that they need to be. Because in the Air Force, you're not just a nurse, you're a leader as well.